I'm VJ Hamilton and welcome to the Autoimmune Reset, the place for you to learn how to thrive with autoimmune disease and feel empowered to take steps to transform your health to feel better than ever. You can start making changes today to improve your health. So with every episode, my mission is to share with you simple ways to up-level your diet and lifestyle with key learnings from my own journey reversing autoimmune disease and inspirational stories from those who have reset their autoimmune symptoms and are now thriving in life. I suffered from autoimmune disease for over 25 years and now I live symptom-free, and I wish the same for you as well. So thank you for being here and sharing this time with me. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome back to this Friday 5 episode of the Autoimmune Reset podcast. I'm your host, VJ Hamilton. I'm a nutritionist, scientist, and expert in autoimmune disease. And today we're talking about fibermaxxing and how that impacts you if you have an autoimmune disease. Because if you've been scrolling through social media lately, you may have seen the term fibermaxxing. It's the idea of cramming in as much fibre as possible through powders, supplements, and even extreme diets in the hope that it will supercharge your gut health. And fibre is often overlooked, so I'm glad that we are talking more about fibre. But the truth is that even though fibre feeds the microbiome, it helps to produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate that help regulate the immune system and supports things like detox, cholesterol balance, and blood sugar regulation. You can actually have too much of it, because if you're living with an autoimmune condition or if your gut lining is fragile, then more isn't always better. So today I want to talk through 5 things you need to know about fibermaxxing if you're managing autoimmunity. The first is that fibre is essential, but timing and context matter. Fibre is food for your microbes. When gut bacteria ferment fibre, they produce compounds like butyrate, propionate, and acetate, which are all short-chain fatty acids. And butyrate is especially powerful because it can help with the gut lining and helps to modulate inflammation. There's some really interesting research about how it can help with food sensitivities and increasing tolerance to foods. And I'm sure the research is going to evolve in this area as well, and there are going to be more benefits disclosed around butyrate as well. When the gut barrier is inflamed or leaky, then suddenly introducing lots of fibre can create a cacophony of symptoms, including gas, cramping, and loose stools, and that can reflect immune irritation rather than healing. It's when we do things too quickly and we don't take things steady enough, or we're not as gentle on a very reactive system, that we can then create more symptoms. And it's a challenge that I have in clinic as well. Most of the people that come to me are coming to me with complex issues that have built up over a long period of time. And if we move too quickly with something, which is often what somebody wants to do, they want to see results quickly, and I know I certainly did. But the truth is you do need to be a bit more gentle, even though you want to be focused and strategic, a bit more gentle when it comes to an already reactive system. And fibre can really tip the balance. And I recently started working with a client, and she felt that when she started taking a high fibre supplement that her symptoms got worse, and she hasn't actually recovered from that. And that's why we're now starting to work together. So yes, fibre is vital, but the timing of when and how you increase it is where tenacity and patience really pays off. Next, we have powders and supplements that can actually overwhelm a sensitive gut. And much of the fibermaxxing trend is built around fibres like inulin, chicory root, and psyllium husk. And they do have benefits, but in a sensitive gut, they can act like a blunt instrument rather than a fine tool. I've seen it with my clients who have autoimmune thyroiditis or Sjogren's, and they can flare dramatically after adding powders too quickly, as I mentioned about a new client that I've started working with. So the lesson is sometimes we just need to recalibrate in order to be able to support the gut. So real food first, powders later, And then the system is a lot calmer when we start introducing these types of foods that are higher in fiber. Next, gentle cooked foods are really the best place to start, because when your gut is fragile, raw kale salads or giant fiber shakes just aren't going to help. They can often be a setback. And when you are dealing with gut issues, and most of the time if you have an autoimmune condition, there is an issue with digestion. And that is why cooked vegetables, like including carrots or butternut squash or sweet potato or courgettes, are going to be much gentler on the system. And that is because heat softens the fibers and makes them easier to tolerate. And this steady, measured approach actually builds resilience. It's not as enticing as something that is going to give you a quick fix, but the truth is it allows your microbiome to recalibrate and grow in balance rather than creating chaos in the system. Next is hydration and digestion are non-negotiables, because fiber needs water, and healthy digestion includes making sure that you have appropriate levels of stomach acid, bile flow and enzymes, and they make the difference between fiber being nourishing and inflammatory. And often there's an issue with one of those components when you are living with an autoimmune condition. If those processes aren't working well, the gut environment becomes discordant and symptoms like bloating and constipation appear. Supporting digestion is what transforms fiber from an irritant into an ally. And you need to get those systems working effectively and hopefully optimally before you start thinking about bringing higher fiber foods into your diet. And lastly, slow and steady builds resilience. The gut thrives on consistency, not extremes. Adding one new food at a time, allowing your microbiome to adjust, and patiently building diversity, creating a stronger, more tolerant system is the way to go. This is where tenacity matters. Healing is rarely linear, but steady progress builds an environment where the immune system feels less threatened and more balanced. And that is certainly how I approach my protocols with my clients, because I know that if we do too much too soon, it can actually set you back even further from where you were starting from. So fibermaxxing might be trending, but your gut isn't a trend. If you live with an autoimmune condition, the goal is not as much as possible. It's the right kinds of fiber at the right pace in the right order. So if you're not sure where to begin, or you want to know if your gut is ready for more fiber, then testing can be incredibly helpful. And tests like the GI Effects, which is a stool test that I run in my clinic, can show your gut barrier health, your short-chain fatty acid production, microbiome balance, and your nutrient needs. So if you'd like to learn more, then feel free to head over to the podcast Instagram account, which is at the Autoimmune Reset. You can message me the word gut over there, and I'll share with you some details and some insights about the gut testing that I offer and things that you can think about as well when it comes to introducing more fiber into your diet. Thanks so much for joining me in this week's Friday 5. I will see you next week with 5 more insights into autoimmune health. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will speak to you soon. Take care. Thank you very much for joining me today on the Autoimmune Reset. I really hope you enjoyed the discussion, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode. And if you liked it, I would hugely appreciate a review on iTunes, as it helps me understand what you like about the podcast and to help share the information with more people. I'm excited to speak to you next time, and remember, you have the power to take the reins on your health. So keep the faith and celebrate the small wins. Until next time.